Thank you, Program Director, and good morning, everyone. Tulani Fagutse from ESCOM. Probably a comment more than a question per se, along the lines of probably what Chris mentioned. But I think for me, the comment I want to make is the conversation around digital transformation and the success of that program. I think it lies largely around where that program is driven from. I respect my panelists. They are my bosses and former colleagues and everyone. They are all IT, and I think that's probably where also lies in the problem, where sometimes we think the digital transformation conversation and agenda is an IT thing, and that can have a lot to say with the success of such programs. I think the presentation by the ERSCG earlier on, in terms of just a composition of their transformation team, to say it's largely the business. I think that is what is key, understanding the needs of the business, because digital is really meant to enable businesses to be efficient. So key business processes or functions must play a key role in the digital transformation agenda. And I noted also in the presentations, I think it was the second presentation where it was talk of MTN's transformation from telco to techco, and looking at what's probably happening globally, you are seeing a lot of operators going that route. But what also is happening in some of the spaces, you find that so that you address the question that Chris was asking, you then find telcos then employing sector-specific specialists and professionals, so that you clearly understand what are the opportunities, as an example, in agriculture, if you have that expertise internally. And that really helps in the digital transformation process, if you have that expertise internally and you leveraging on that. Like I said, it's just a comment, and that's just about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tulani. I think we've got a hand from ECMD.
Thank you, facilitator. I'd like to first of all thank the CEO from MTN for arranging for this conversation. It's a crucial conversation which is going to take the country forward. And I like the analogy that you made regarding transformation, that we should not take these incremental steps in transformation, and the comment made by Ceci there that we need to think disruptive transformation, not just incremental transformation. It is important. But there is one other conversation that needs to be brought into the table, and that is the cost of, or rather, look at it from the returns point of view. What are the returns, so that it attracts the funding? At the moment, when you talk about digital transformation, and I will speak from the point of view of an electrical utility, and perhaps maybe other businesses as well. If you think about the advantages of digitalizing your activities, they are enormous. But the capital that is required to bring that digitalization is also high. and competing against other needs for the businesses as well. Now, the question I have is, what are the opportunities for collaboration between the different players in the sector, in communication and other sectors, to reduce the capital requirements for digital transformation that will benefit all sectors? Thank you.
Thank you, Mkonta. Maybe let me pick on our banking person, and I'll ask Sino maybe just to also touch in terms of, from a telco space, the opportunities that we can envisage in terms of collaboration. We were just talking about the inhibiting factors which normally talk to finances. Over to you.
Thanks, Mlandro. Thanks, MT, EEC. I think it's quite a very heavy conversation that is, I think the other gentleman spoke about it a bit. To say, how do you get the executive to agree to certain investments that are required for transformation? I think in one of the key drivers we said is business or enterprise, that being the growth of it, the continuity of it, the profitability of the business. So it does make a big impact in the decision to finance that. The other one MD talked or touched on is the issue of collaboration. I think we have seen some collaboration. I'll just touch on one a bit in our space, or in my space, what we call fintech or financial technology. Financial technology is not possible without telecom, for example. So it's a mega or a collaboration between banking and telecom, where now we come up with what we call a fintech or financial technology. Now, of course, there's other things that are happening. There's agri-tech. I think the MTN speaker spoke about within agri-tech what we call animal tracking solutions. In Eswatini, for example, we've got quite a huge issue of animal theft, goats, cows being taken to Mozambique. So these are collaborations that, yes, needs to be harnessed. Being health tech is one of the technology that still need to be harnessed in more, about that. Then, of course, within utility as well, if I come to Eswatini, I think it's one of the services that everybody would need: water, electricity, and other utility services. Coming to what probably Chris was talking about, it's what I think also in Eswatini, everybody needs those things. So it is, for me, a focus that needs to be, ensure that these services are delivered to the clients or the public. But how do we do that? Technology plays a part. Now, the question of financing then is quite really difficult. It's not financing in terms of a loan whatsoever, but is the board or the executive agreeing to invest to technology? So the conversation is quite difficult. Yes, there are financial benefits, since we said about profitability, but also the conversation is about efficiency of the business, effectiveness of the business, productivity of the business. Some of it may be financial, but some of it may just be about around client service, which all technology, but also the business in terms of commercial, the marketing, will need to embrace that and make sure that we are able to get that vote to say, okay, let's do that investment and fund it. But if we then look at the countries or the entities that have transformed or invested in technology, what has happened to them? So the question is, if they did that and and they succeeded, why not? Why would I still be stuck to say, no, technology is just just one of the things that you do? It's icing on the cake. No, it's the real cake, because it does give whatever that we need. I think let me end there.
Thank you, Mkewo. And maybe, just on the collaboration, if you can touch briefly on that one, being sensitive of time. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mlambo. In terms of the opportunities for collaborating, I think the way I look at it is we need to take it a step lower. we tend to focus on the collaboration with the different organizations, yet you want to try and take it back maybe to tertiary level where you sort of partner with the different students who are going to be graduating. Or should I say plant that seed in terms of where are we going as an organization. And you know, what I also have observed is that the young minds, before they join an organization, they're sort of free-spirited and they are open with ideas, but you throw them in the organization, they sort of then adapt to what's not doable, what's impossible. So you want to sort of not dilute their minds with what doesn't work, what's challenging, what's not achievable. And with that, you create a mind that is, should I say, open to change, willing to bring in something that's not there. For the existing organizations within ourselves, you looking at, let's just use EEC. Our contract is ending with South Africa. So ideally, we're supposed to come up with solutions, but somebody's thinking somebody needs to do it. Is it EEC? Is it somebody? And then next thing, we are also going to be experiencing load shedding. So the opportunities to partner is not just only within companies. Let's also open up to the public and allow them to, should I say, suggest solutions, and where possible, let people open their own organizations that the existing companies can partner with. Because, you know, within an organization, it's difficult to fire people. And you can only upskill them to the level at which they want to be upskilled. So when you feel they have reached a certain level where it's no longer viable for the business in terms of bringing in new ideas, then you want to be partnering. In our organization, we are an innovative organization. So what we do is we try and get our staff to be innovative, and we are also now going to be opening it up to the public. Let's hear what the customers think we should do better in terms of improving our services, what we are providing to our customers. Thank you.
Thank you, Sino. So maybe just to summarize in terms of the feedback is collaboration should not, I think it also needs to be thought of outside the box. And I think probably those would be my takings there. I do note a hand there and here, but can I just pose certain questions flowing from Tulani's comment around, you know, the driving of IT people or technology people for some of these conversations. I do believe that is critical because, or maybe should I say what I believe is critical is from the technology side, it's for us to educate on what technologies are there, and how these can be utilized for then the use by the business people. And just on that, maybe I can ask Mcebo just to help us on emerging technologies in the whole context of digital transformation.
Thanks, Mlando, on that specific question. I think we've been talking about digital transformation, but now the question is about emerging technologies in digital transformation. I'll just probably maybe start with why that, and then maybe just turn a few, but I know there's interest of time. I wanted to cover maybe just global perspective and then look at Eswatini perspective, but maybe I'll try to skip some. Just maybe why emerging? Why are we so worried and so concerned about emerging? Just capture these colleagues. If I've got a BMW, those who've got BMW or any other car anyway, or Nissan, for people like me who've got a Nissan, why do we go to the shop to buy the latest BM or the latest Nissan? I'm making an example of a BM, it's a sedan, or a Nissan being a van, for example. Why can't I just go and buy a Datsun Nissan or that old BM? So we always look at, imaging. Part of the answers, maybe not all, part of the answers, I'll just focus on two, there may be more, is one, speed. That we're looking at. If you buy BM, it's all about speed. If I move to Mbabane to Manzini, for example, I may take, 15 minutes for some, or 20 minutes, but if it's that older car, it may be an hour. If I buy that newer Nissan, for example, it's got higher capacity in terms of load that it can take, vis-a-vis one that can probably have a lower capacity. I think I want to believe probably it could take, 2 people or even take a 200 kg load. Now we talk of 1 ton, 2 ton, and then of course trucks which have got bigger tons. Then of course other things, reliability, usability and comfort and all other things that we then look at. So hence the word then we go for emerging. So same within technology, there is that drive for speed, there is that drive for capacity, there is that drive for reliability, quality, and all of the other things that we look for when we then go to emerging technology. We always, as enterprises, want to be first to market. We always also want to gain early adoption of clients, of products, of whatever, depending on the enterprise it dealing. So we always to be that. And why so? So that we get that. If I summarize all of that, it's all about competitive advantage. So we are all driving competitive advantage. Higher speed, higher capacity, whatever. If I look, for example, let's take what we do, most of the things that we do is for clients. If I were to say to you, for an enterprise, do something that will give you 10,000 clients in 6 months. Vis-a-vis do something that will give you 10,000 clients in 6 years, what would you choose? Obviously 6 months. Do something that will give you 1,000 or sell 1,000 oranges in 1 day, vis-a-vis 1,000 of them in 10 days. You'll go for 1 day. Why? Because you'll make more money. And the other example, same thing, you'll achieve your clients quicker. So it's all about why emerging. So that's the drive and chase that we are all chasing for in emerging technologies. If you stay behind, you will cry as an enterprise or as a business. Maybe just looking at the global trends, I think some of them have been touched on. AI, artificial intelligence, which is more of a digital learning of our environment so that it can provide solutions to us. So it learns what we do, what we talk, whatever that it is, and then it can then provide us solutions quicker. Even something that I know, it will learn of me but give it to you, or give it to anyone else, or learn of you, but give it to me. Case an example is what we call now ChatGPT. I'm not sure how many have heard of ChatGPT, where you can ask anything. It will give you even business strategies. It will give you certain tasks that you can do, and quite a number of things. The other one, just want to touch on a global trend, is robotics or robots. We have seen, I've got a video that I watched last 2 weeks back, where a robot was cutting sugar cane. So the guy is got a remote. You can put it on auto. You can put it on, So it cuts the sugar. It's just doing cutting, and then the guy is increasing the speed. It's cutting very, very fast, very, very fast. So now I look at that robot. I look at the human being. There's a complete big difference. The robot doesn't eat. The robot doesn't get tired. It's just doing this cutting. Then you put it on auto. It can cut the whole night. By the following day, the whole sugar cane is done. So that's what happened. E-commerce, I think we've seen e-commerce. Alibaba in China, one of the biggest, taking a lot in SA, and of course I think Eswatini there's encroach of that. There's quite big around that. The marketplace, I think the MTN speaker spoke about that. Cloud solutions, what Amazon is doing. These are just examples of some of the big tech entities which we look up to what they've done. Cloud solutions or computing. And now there is the leveraging of CAPEX. I think what the MD EEC spoke about in terms of then having that decision to finance. So it's leveraging CAPEX of someone else so that we can achieve the same as entity. So you don't need now to buy hardware and do that. It's already bought. You just, the next day, you are in business, you are operating. Social media, not only just for social media, but there's a lot there. Social media marketing, and now as a client engagement tool. So that's all emerging technologies that is doing. Now coming closer to Eswatini, just want to highlight in our context and environment, what are things that we can benefit out of that? The one that I really looked at, because yes, we are behind, but we're still trying to catch up, but there are things that, you know, we can pick up now and start to pick up the pieces. One of it is decision and knowledge management systems. Big data, I think the other speaker spoke about it as big data. Decision and knowledge-based systems. These are like your data analytics, your BI, your business intelligence solutions, where we are able to, or we should be able to, as enterprises, make business decisions that are backed by information. Could be information about our clients or our products or about environment or even a competitor sometimes. You can, those big data can be built. And now, of course, AI assisting in decision and knowledge systems. The other one is automation. Automation, I think Sino did touch on it a bit. I'll maybe skip that. But a lot of benefits around self-service, around service accessibility being 24/7, where young people and actually everyone anyway want to make sure that we can access services at night, during the day, at home, at office, at the field. All of that is coming about automation. The other one that probably I would like to touch on is just about the tech channels that we can embrace within digital transformation. One being, here it's MTN. It's all about mobile and mobility. There is a big appetite for mobility so that we work wherever we want. And I think the good advantage about that is the high penetration, of course, of mobile services with the two entities that we've got in Eswatini. I think they've done a good job. So it means that me as a banker, for example, I can do my banking anywhere, which is courtesy of mobility. So it's one of the good channels, online or web. We do have that being driven by, for example, SECOM, where they are driving online access for all, even for schools, for hospitals, within the government environment. So those are some of the channels. Social media I've already included. And then, of course, electronic is part of the digital channel that we as Eswatini need to make sure that we utilize. Some of those electronic is a simple point of sale. I think we all know when you go to any shop, Lagangwane, there is somewhere, somehow, there is a point of sale. Some of those electronic gadgets, it could be field-based gadgets or for agriculture, for any other construction sector, that will help drive that transformation. I think let me end there.
Thank you, Mcebo. And I think, yeah, my takings from Mcebo's submission is really around the AI robotics. I'll tell you my story about AI maybe at the end. So, but before we get there, I think there was a hand in the corner and another hand here. Okay, thanks, Sakile.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm Sakile Maisela. For the greater part of it, we thank MTN to facilitate such a platform. And I've noticed one thing, we've got very good marketers in everybody speaking today. And for me, some of the questions, the crucial questions are being asked, but I don't know if I'm getting the answers out of them. Particularly, two speakers have spoken, I think three. One, resources and foundation has been formed. There's a cost element, and there's a collaboration strategy that is being spoken about. Collaboration, MTN, thank you. Very good network. You built a beautiful data center. Do we have co-location? Right. Where we can all bring our servers and put them in your office and then use the local bandwidth. ERS, thank you for being part of the Oracle platform. But are you oracling out of the country? Or are you oracling locally to any of the data centers locally? We've got RSTP, we've got MTN, we've got HPTC. So what I'm trying to drive at is, from the corporate perspective, the collaboration there, are we using local resources to manage the cost perspective? Because, for instance, if ERS is connecting to a data center at MTN locally, their cost of communication will drop to almost zero. But are we doing that? Already, you're on an Oracle platform. Is that Oracle platform in another region, or is it locally? What has MTN and maybe net banks and all, what have they come together to come and look at it from that perspective? Because right now, as I said, there's a lot of marketing going on. We're speaking cloud solutions, we're speaking automation, we're speaking robotics, but all these platforms are coming to us at a cost. And which is the biggest restrictive or something that is not enabling to most of the people sitting in the room, okay, particularly. But what I'm trying to ask is, with the panel sitting there, you are well represented. Have you looked at a situation whereby you can collaborate yourselves to deliver these emerging technologies to change the mindset of the corporate powers that be? From IT has always been a big black hole in terms of cost. Let's look at it. Have you looked at it from a collaboration in that respect, whereby you've got EEC, you've got EWSC, you've got ERS, all these have databases, they can all run on some sort of technology that can be collaborated. Let's say, let me market MTN for today, at MTN data center. It will come at almost 3/4 dropped price. So from my perspective, if we can just try and look at it from that perspective, maybe you don't have time now, but just from the panel sitting there, if they've looked at it from that perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Sakile. But I think maybe before I hand it over to the panel, I'll use this opportunity just for our EBU team. I'm trying to look around in terms of, we've got Mangaliso in the corner there. Just to, because initially we did talk, and I think there was a question that was coming, or a comment around the infrastructure that has been set. But now the question is, with all this that has been done, how do we collaborate? How do we make these things a reality locally, and also from the collaboration bring down some of these costs? So I don't know, Mangali, so maybe if you can just take this one, say from an EBU perspective. Thanks.
So from an EBU perspective, we do collaborate, with other entities in terms of infrastructure sharing, especially data center. So we do have 2 data centers in the country, one in Eswatini, the other one in Matapa. And in the one that is in Matapa, we do have opened up space so that other entities can come in, and then lease out that space for us from us. So what we offer really, is the rack space, and then we also offer you cooling, and we've got a power as well. We have your normal AC power. We have batteries as a backup. We also have a generator also as a backup. So we do offer that space. We have a few entities that we have leased out the space to. Some of them are even in this room. Maybe they can give testimony of what we have done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mangaliso. But maybe just to respond, I know I'm not part of the panel. I should be facilitating, but I think Sakile, to your point, it's an interesting one, thought-provoking, and I think more than anything, let us take an action, because for us to elevate this country to greater heights, we do need to have more of such engagements, where we also look at, where do we want to go? If one entity tries to engage Microsoft, that's not going to fly. But if a number of entities start engaging Microsoft and showing benefit of all these consolidated entities, then maybe the conversation becomes easier. And I think it's probably sessions like these, Sakile, that we need to now say, outside of this panel here, when we walk outside, the conversations that we're having, the networking that we're doing, how are we trying to pull each other together and co-create solutions that will benefit our entities and the country at large? But maybe I just wanted to respond to that, but maybe I'll also allow Nelson to respond as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Sakile, for the question. As the ERS, we are wholly government funded, and government does not provide capital budget for procurement of data center equipment. Hence, we have explored a number of options for co-locating. We are working with RSTP, who is hosting our data center recovery. We no longer have equipment there. But with the primary production data center, which is, I would say, almost due for replacement, we aren't looking at government to fund that, because they have already established some centers to host us. The Oracle one came because we bought an Oracle solution. As Mlandvo has said it, we do not have the muscle to convince Oracle to move closer home. The only closer home data center they had was the one in Joburg. With our local partners, we then worked together to provide the fast connection to the Joburg data center. We are happy if in such platforms we can engage and try to bring in service providers like Microsoft to host locally, because again, that is another area that is a bit frustrating in terms of the cost of the bandwidth that we have to incur just to access the services that they provide. Thank you.
Thank you, Nelson. And maybe just a quick comment before maybe we take one more from the floor.
Yeah, thanks, Mlandvo. Yeah, I think it's quite a very interesting discussion. The issue of cost, it always comes everywhere. And then also collaboration, which we probably wish it can, or it can, not wish, it can drive, cost down. I think just my 2 cents there is the issue of, he spoke about infrastructure sharing. Infrastructure is one of the most important things, be it national infrastructure, be it private sector infrastructure, because we talk of MTN, for example, EEC, NetBank in my space, there are certain infrastructure that are there as assets that exist. But the question is, how do we pull these resources together to achieve certain goals, not only for just the enterprises, but the goals for the clients, for the public? I think there is that gap there. What I've seen is that the discussions are business-based. MTN is in business with NetBank. They're talking on business terms. I'll supply you this is going to cost this much. I'll supply you this is going to cost this much. So it's a business trade always. But the proper forum for even the country or just private sector where we deal with issues of how do we collaborate better, I think it doesn't exist. At that executive level, at management level, even at operational level, those are not there. We only come together, business, which I believe probably strengthening those forums, it could engage those talks. But government should be part of that kind of conversations to make sure that, yes, we are business, but also we are serving people in the country. How do we collaborate better so that we reduce our cost? Because US or Australia to give us ideas to say how as a country can we improve our service. We have to do it ourselves as Eswatini. So it's true, yes, there's cloud, but what if it's a cloud that is here in Eswatini? RSTP is doing it, maybe MTN also is sharing that hardware as a service cloud, but what if we do it that more and collaborate more, pool the resources that we have within the utilities, within the banking, within the telecoms, within all the other sectors, agriculture, etc., etc. There are resources that already exist that we can pull together to give a better service. Thank you.
Thank you, Mtevo. Okay, can we take, there's another hand on the floor.
Yeah, maybe my first comment would be, I think MTN are acting cowardly. Calling ICT people that understand. I think the next digital transformation seminar, you should call finance, business, and all these people. We understand, we can do all this, we clearly understand what you are telling us, and really, I think we are just ticking a box. So I suggest you call the same meeting next week and call and call business here, and you sell this to them. That's a starting point. The other frustration that I've seen in my life is trying to make business understand IT as a business enabler vis-a-vis IT as a support function. They think we just support, and really business enabling, it's not. That's why some of these institutions, IT is still reporting to finance. It's one of the reasons. So now you can bring all these technologies and finance available go say, well, what is the cost? And when it comes to our tenders, which we issue, maybe we sourcing suppliers and things like that, they look for the cheapest, not the product that does the job. So we've got all those challenges that we are meeting. Also coming to services, we've got this Mbabane Manzini corridor issue, where we're busy piling all the services in that corridor. Even my friend there said the data center at MTN Ilamatap. I mean, you might as well have kept it here. Why can't you put it Galavu Mesa or Gugeke? So that you sort of stretch the corridor. I mean, our children there, Emakale, which is the greater population, are not getting all these services. We're busy piling. Kune fiber MTN here to the just this last 6 months, cable theft. Siyakichima MTN asfakela modems. 6 months later, MTN asafuni what is this unlimited. So now sesikhathile futhi MTN sesifuna journey. All of these people are running nje la kule kulomba banemanzini corridor. Can't Jenny operate so that we stretch our services. So now we are stuck with this. All these technologies are churning each other now. Within MTN as well. So, I mean, I think the more we stretch, if we can stretch the services, I mean, Swaziland is about 3 hours across. Oshuk, Lovumis. What is all this fuss? Crowding these services in a small area, 23 kilometers. If we can try and stretch all the services. But yeah, business, business, we understand.
Thank you, guys. I don't know, maybe one day would you want to just touch on the element of business, and probably I think it would also help just to unpack EPU, could say we EPU from an MTN perspective, and what service EPU provides to the customers at large. Could say technology.
Yeah.
So maybe over to you, Wandile. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mlandu, and thanks for the comments. I think the one thing to say is probably that we are taking the feedback. It's very valid, and we will be actioning upon it. But maybe to your first comment to say that the reasoning behind bringing, the technical people in one room is to get the idea of where EBU or MTN is going as a unit. So I think Sudipto had mentioned that predominantly we are known as your mobile solutions provider. And for us to entrench the idea of saying we are now in the connectivity space, we are now in the ICT space, we believe that this is the room, the primary room that should get an appreciation of that. And building off that, I think what's key is what he's mentioned just now, to say business should get an appreciation of that. I think stemming from this, that should be the next step, to say, okay, now let's bring business into the same room. And what that will do is the conversations that you are going to have back at home are going to be fueled by things that we all agreed on in this room. So if Afrika Mlando, I'd say we want a certain solution from MTN and this is what it's going to bring. Everyone is on the same page. We know what we are talking about and also the financial part will be taken care of. So now there's a 360-degree view of the whole thing. Yeah, and maybe just to elaborate on the EBU part. EBU is basically looking at the enterprises. This is your small enterprises, your large enterprises. Our primary focus is to drive the ICT agenda for the business and not necessarily the mobility part of it, which is why we speak about the investments that we've made from a group perspective, which we are going to be leveraging off to deliver all the solutions that will speak to our enterprises. And the idea is basically to say, we are not going to come and say, this is what we are bringing to you as an entity. What we want to do is to co-create, come sit down in the same room and say, what is your problem as, I don't know, a Standard Bank or whichever example. And we lay it out, we go back, we solution for that. And by so doing, we are able to bring a solution that really speaks to your need and not just anything that we are providing in the market. So that's what we are trying to create in this area.
Thank you, Wandile. Maybe I'll throw a question to the to our panel members here, just around, you know, some of the issues that have been touched on is the, should I call it a challenge around, I know we're probably going back to a topic that we touched on earlier on, but just around, you know, how do we co-create with our finance, with the people from business? Maybe we can just get some insights on some winnings or strategies that have been adopted around this engagement with business and winning them. I know Brightwell did touch a bit more about this topic earlier on, but I just want the panel to talk to this as well, of this engagement and collaboration and what winning strategies we could adopt in our efforts working with business. I don't know, maybe I'll ask Sino and then Nelsio to join in.
All right, thanks. Yeah, so there are a few strategies that we can employ. Maybe let me just focus on delivery. The best, or maybe let me use my experience. So what we did just in the past few years, when we try to run a project, we have 2 PMs. You'll have a PM that is technical, and then you'll have a PM that is business. So the technical PM manages the technology delivery, and then the business PM manages what the interests of the business in terms of the engagements, all the different stakeholders. They have to then put it in, reduce it into a requirement, which then is translated into the delivery of a system. So it is possible to co-create with the business. It's just then making sure that the discussions are open and there's mutual respect between the teams and working towards a shared goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Sino. Maybe Nelsio?
Thank you. To ensure that whatever product that you need to deliver is accepted by all parties, we normally say create burning platform, make everyone understand why we need to change, why we need to adopt this technology. So in those sessions, it is where everyone gets to say their views. We have made, I would say at ERS we've adopted the outcome model as a change methodology. It makes at the A stage, the awareness stage, that is where we talk about the change, even before we start the implementation, the planning and everything. So by the time we go buy the product, we have engaged everyone. Everyone is aware, because at that stage we're just creating awareness. We have also made the approach to ensure that our leaders, they sponsor the change. By sponsoring, we need all like executives to fully talk to the change as if it is their own, they're bringing it. You would find like this one that we've just done now, it is affecting a certain department in the organization, but all the executive members were able to talk to it as if they are the ones that are sponsoring it. We do nuggets on a weekly basis where each HOD will talk about the change that is being brought up. We've also taken this concept where we say the preferred sender of message is the one that is close to the person that the change is going to affect. So much as the Commissioner General will talk about the change at a high level, talking to all of us about it, but each supervisor or line manager is expected to talk to the change, to his team, the people that are directly reporting to you. And there are methods that we use to check that the messages are translated from top down, and the feedback, it is collected from bottom up, and the treatments from the feedbacks. Even sometimes it would not be 100% treatment. But because now the people that are bringing the change, they know that this is what these people are thinking or feeling about this change, we are able to then come and address them in their respective areas, because the change, when it comes, it impacts us differently. So when you get the feedback, you will be able to provide relevant treatments as per the different groups relating to the change. We have a center of excellence that is have people that are certified in project management and change management. But we've realized that having a clique, like a few people out of a staff complement of say 500, having 10 people that have the expertise in terms of change management is not adequate. So you need to build the capacity, the change management capacity organizational wide. The company that we've partnered with, because in change management or project management or whatever product delivery, partnering with your having a collaboration with your partners works. Just like we have articulated how it worked for us having partnership with MTN. It also works even in the change management space. We partnered with ProSci. They have a tool, that's an online tool where you can quickly roll out training to a high number of people, and they can also get certification in terms of change management. So everyone now, this is what we have started. We have not fully rolled it out, but we are looking at having everyone in the organization being a change champion, because the number of changes that the digital transformation is bringing a lot of changes. So you cannot just have 10